guys, welcome back to my channel, The Inked Reader. Today I'm finally doing my wrap-up and TBR for my manga and graphic novels for the month of August. I had, as I said, planned an epic TBR for August due to me having a couple of days off so I can read a bit more. And yeah, without further ado, I'll start with the wrap-up, which I'm going to put the graphic novels and manga that I've read in July in order of enjoyment, although I've noticed that with graphic novels and manga is harder than books because I tend to enjoy a lot my graphic novels and manga. So yeah, I struggled to put them in order. So as you could have seen from the statistics, I've read everything I was supposed to. I was very lucky because the last 2 days of the month I had the biggest one left, but you've seen a second why I didn't have any difficulties in reading that basically in one go. So I actually read 8 manga and graphic novels. However, because 2 volumes are of the same series, I've kind of categorized them as 2-2. Makes sense? So we'll start at number 7 just because I'm combining 2 volumes of the same series. So at number 7, I have Kiss of the Rose Princess. This is volume 2 in a shoujo manga series where the promise is that you got this girl. She has been told by her father to never forget to keep her choker on unless she wants bad things to happen. She doesn't know what her dad means by this, but one day she loses her choker and all of a sudden she is given these 4 cards so that if she kisses them, a knight per card will appear. So she's got 4 cards, 4 knights, and the funny thing is that apart from one, all the other guys that are her knights are supposed to help her against, I don't know, dark powers. They all are people in her life that she already knew, so we are introduced to them before we know they are knights, and there are some very interesting dynamics. I have to say that the plot of this is very weak in a sense. I'm not here for the plot. However, toward the end we are getting a bit darker in a sense, so it's getting a bit more interesting. It feels like finally the plot is developing a bit, which is definitely an improvement from the first volume. But I have to say that if it was just for the plot, I would probably give up on these. But I'm shipping 2 of these characters so much together, and I'm honestly curious to see where this is going. However, when I looked online for the 3rd volume, the prices are unreasonable, especially for a series that overall it's like a 3.5 stars, 3 stars for me. So I'm gonna maybe eventually looking for online volumes and just reading online, giving up on it. I'm still on the fence. I don't know what to do with these. At number 6, I've got the Jackie Daisy Volume 2. So I had initially purchased this and realized that it was actually in like German or any other language that I can't recognize. Apologies. So I had to order from Amazon an English copy. This is the story of this girl. She loses her bigger brother, and in order to cope with the pain of losing her brother, the brother leaves her with a phone number of his best friend and just say, if you need anything, you can always contact Daisy. So she starts this kind of relationship, friendship with Daisy via text messages. And at the same time, she's in high school, she's very poor, and she's trying to do her best to make ends meet. And one day she ruins school property, so now to repay, because she doesn't have money to do so, she agrees to help the caretaker of the school to just do some odd jobs around the school. And this guy have this hate relationship, and things starts from there. I don't want to spoil anything, I'm gonna keep it vague. Said that this was a bit more slow than volume 1, and I think some of the plot parts, which they get a bit heavier as well, they were all around hackers and computers, and it's not my cup of tea. However, I think that in this one, as in the previous volume we just discussed, we are getting a bit more plot. We are given more plot content to, you know, make us go ahead with the series. And I really, really like the guy. I really like the caretaker of the school. So I do want to see their relationship develops, forming, whether it's gonna happen. And yeah, I will definitely continue on. And on number 5, I've got Adventure Time. This one actually is a spin-off of the main series. So I don't know, like, I've got more than 10 volumes out of the other main series, but this is a spin-off series, and actually it's not the first one that came out. I think it's the 2nd or 3rd of the spin-off. But I'm gonna read everything that's to do with Adventure Time. This is a 5 stars. It's in 5th place, but it's a 5 stars because this is simply a delight. And I didn't know before picking this up that I owned for ages that there was like a whole spin-off series made of a few volumes. And honestly, I do love everything about Adventure Time. It is a bit on the younger side, so you know, a young teen could definitely enjoy Adventure Time. And I love the art, how funny it is, and it's innocent and funny, as I said, but at the same time I think it's enough entertaining to be okay, even if it's quite simple as plot. Like, I do honestly think that it's such an engaging series with such amazing art that I don't really mind the fact that it's kind of plain, the plot itself. I think it's enriched by the art and the dialogues and so forth. And it's very much sometimes with just the right break.
"2,000 years later."
And it's just the right break sometimes I need from reading all the heavy stuff that I do. In fourth place, I've got Rick and Morty, The Ricky Horror Peacock Show. This actually is volume 4. I've seen this volume without the title, so just say, you know, Rick and Morty volume 4. This is another series that I am slowly making my way through. Each issue is like watching an episode of Rick and Morty. And it's Rick and Morty. Do I need to say anything else? Like, I've been a fan of Rick and Morty since day one. I honestly think that the graphic novels is very, very faithful to the TV show. So it does honestly feel like you're reading one episode. The art, everything, the characters, and it's just how funny, clever. Like, sometimes I'm reading this and I think, like, this is so absurd, it's so out there, but at the same time it's freaking genius. And I don't want to spoil anything, but there were a couple of things that are in here that I thought, how come, as someone who does enjoy writing fiction now and then, how come I didn't think about that? That's a brilliant idea. Like, I will always cherish Rick and Morty. I think it's just the right amount of being irreverent and funny and just genius that I absolutely love. And I gave it 5 stars. So again, you see, 4th place is still a 5 stars. So yeah, if you like Rick and Morty, I think the graphic novels are a very good addendum while you wait for another season to come out. And number 3, I have got I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. This is a full series, so it's the complete manga collection, as it says here. And this is the story of this boy who forms this friendship with this girl who has a deadly illness. So she's about to die, she's gonna have a few months to a year, I believe, and he knows that, and she still kind of convinces him to hang out with her, and they form this amazing friendship. And this is definitely, like, it's a contemporary manga that I would otherwise not have picked up if I didn't happen to be in Waterstone and open this up and just be in absolute awe of the art style of the it's not just a romance. If a romance at all is something that you have to experience for yourself, and I should have taken tissues with me before starting this. It is without doubt tragic, but it's also beautiful, and I really loved the discussions about the meaning of life in this and how this changes from person to person. But I also appreciated how this goes in very deep philosophical discussion, if you want, on life and the meaning of it, as I said, while always being faithful to a YA audience. Like, all the very deep discussions that are in here are said and discussed in a way that a teen would not have difficulties in understanding it, and that's something that's not easy to do, especially if you're an adult, because I think we tend to forget how it was being a teen, and we use language that's adult language on teens sometimes, and we shouldn't. We should adapt to a certain degree, of course, because they're very smart, without doubt. So I really appreciated all of that about these. Amazing art. I love what she did in the end. I thought I didn't expect that. That caught me by surprise, and I was like, oh, okay, that's so good. 5 stars, guys. This has a reputation of being extremely good, and I have to stand by it and just say, yes, pick this up. It's worth your time. Just even visually, it's absolutely remarkable. And ultimately, it was such a deeply touching story that left me with a lot of feelings, and it made me think a lot about, again, the meaning of life. So 5 stars, guys. I had an amazing month, as you could see. So number 2, I've got actually the 2 volumes that I read this month of Chainsaw Man. So I've read volume 2 and volume 3. And I'm going to discuss them together because I read them back to back and they felt like I was just reading one volume in a sense. And this is the story of this boy. He is very much down with his luck. He has been abandoned as a child, so he's been living roughly with his pet dog who is a demon until one day something tragic happens and he has to make a very difficult choice. And as a result of that choice, then he can transform in a demon and fight other demons. I just keep it at that. There is all kind of remind me in a sense of Men in Black, the society that hunts demon in this. I don't know why, it's nothing to do with it, it's not alien or anything, but I don't know, something reminds me of Men in Black. I've been loving this series so far. Of course, it's just 3 volumes in, and I was a bit hesitant at the beginning because I'm not very much a fan of repetitive content. So for example, if you have like a detective series where in each volume you have to, you know, solve a mystery, I would get bored. And the same if you have to fight the same thing, so the same, like, you know, bad guy, you have to fight it, bad guy, you have to fight it. Unless there is other content, like maybe I love the characters, maybe, you know, there is an overarching plot that I might enjoy, I do tend in general to get bored of repetitive series. But with this, I'm not minding because it's so bloody violent and eccentric that I am just, you know, and I think that I can see the overarching plot and the stakes are getting higher. So again, I really don't mind the fact that we are fighting demons in and out. And I was shook from the ending of the 3rd volume, and it took all the restraint I had to just say, no, I need to read other stuff because I read these first things in a month and I've got other things on my TBR before I can continue on. But yeah, so I restrained myself. Love also like how in this the simple life goal of the main protagonist discussed. Like I love how everybody's, you know, having these big dreams and he just goes like, I've got simple dream and it doesn't matter that my dream is less important than yours. And I love that about him because he's a very simple guy. He's an uneducated kid who's lived roughly of his life, and I liked how faithful that's portrayed. Like he's not made any cleverer than he could have been if you had to be realistic in that situation he grew up in, but at the same time doesn't mean that he cannot have like deep thoughts, and it doesn't mean that his character is simple. So he's a complex character that behaves like someone who's grown up in the situation. But yes, I do enjoy that we are getting more into the characters of this group of people that fight demons together. We're getting into their back history. It does make a lot of sense. It's fascinating. I don't know what to expect. And all of them are between 4.45 and 5 stars. I really don't mind. I can give it 5 stars. I love this. Let me show you some of the art inside. Yeah. Now, number 1, you've been following me. Like, I don't think I should even discuss this. No, of course I am, but because I'm gonna make a whole video about this, we can just be brief. So then number 1, we've got, as always, Berserk. This is volume 7. So with these we have volumes, let me check, 19, 20, and 21. I can show you the art in this way. These are the, I don't know, deluxe editions. And with these, I finally finished the Conviction arc. So I'm gonna do a whole video about the Conviction arc. And I'm gonna take my time to go into what I loved, what I didn't. Suffice to say, these are 5 stars. And these, after like 21 volumes, these continue to be, without fails, absolutely epic. And I just want to mention something because I think that's very important, as I appreciate more and more how Miura takes his time to develop his characters. You might be with a character for volumes after volume before you see the change slowly happening. So by the time that happens, because you spent so much time developing that character, you're so excited about what's next for them. And I think that is something that, especially in this content of manga graphic novels, I've not seen often, of just actually characters development is very slow, and it's perfect. It has to be slow because this is what makes this epic. Like when people change or people make decisions, it's just, Over feelings, over feelings. Of course, if you know about the conviction arc, you know how this ends. I am absolutely shaken about this, and I can't wait to just make that spoilery video so I can discuss this with you guys. It's coming after I put up my wrap-ups for this month, but 5 stars, it's Berserk. I've already said plenty of time, it changed my life. So, okay. Thank you for listening to the TBR. I'm gonna now insert here the clip of my epic, and I dare say epic in this case, TBR for August. I wanted to make even more lengthy, but then I have a lot of books to read as well. So I tried to contain myself, not really, but you'll see what I mean. But yeah, past me, because I filmed this a few days before the end of the month, last month, for you to present my TBR. I am now doing the TBR part, and I'm filming this another day, and I just have what I think so far it's my most epic TBR in terms of manga and graphic novels. There are about 10 here, but I'm planning to read 11 because of one I want to read 2 volumes, but one is on its way. And yeah, I'm gonna go through them quickly, show you what I'm gonna read this month, and to be fair, I'm so excited. Yeah, do an epic, what I consider epic. It's epic for me in terms of reading manga and graphic novels. It's mostly manga, but there are, I think, around 3 graphic novels. So I'm gonna start showing you the 3 graphic novels I plan to read, and then I'm gonna go into the manga section. So first of all, I am continuing on. This is the second to last book I need to read in the Preacher series. These are called OT books, I don't remember. Kind of, they are like 2 volumes in one. I'll show you some of the art. I've been loving Preacher for a long time. This is it's very, this is a series that's not for everybody. It's very blasphemous. It's, as I say, it's irreverent. It's offending, this series, on so many sides. It's basically the story of these priests who wasn't that much of a priest to begin with. He was a very shady priest to begin with, that one day is bestowed upon the powers of this entity that's as powerful, if not more, than God. So he has now all these powers, and he goes on a mission to find God that has disappeared and hold him accountable for having abandoned humanity. It's absolutely nuts. And as I said before, this series can potentially offend many people. So just maybe read the warnings before you get in, try 1 volume and see how it goes. Personally, absolutely love Preacher. I thought it's just so out there. It just dares say and do things that none other graphic novels have, in like a graphic novel side. And I'm eager to see how this continues after having read a few months ago volume 4. Then I'm gonna continue on with a series. I just realized I need to read the last 3 volumes and then I'll be done with it. And this is Fables, the deluxe edition. I absolutely like how gorgeous this series is. I need to show you my graphic novels and manga bookshelves one day. And this series on top of one of the shelves, and it's just stunning to have it collected this way. And this is underneath, it's like hardcover, and underneath you have the same. This is book number 13. I have to read. Very expensive, but so worth it. Fables is an epic fantasy series. Urban fantasy in the sense that in the first volume you follow this bunch of fables that we're all familiar with, and they had to escape fairyland after they were invaded by a bad guy. I don't want to give any spoilers. And they are now living in modern world New York, and you follow all their intrigues and betrayals, and just so many different things happen, so many characters you follow. Some of my favorite, for example, are the Big Bad Wolf. Then you got Snow White. So you got all your fables all intertwined, all making messes with each other, and then, you know, betrayal and love and so forth. And I need to finish this series because I had the last volume I've read was around 2 years ago, and I was like, why? So I wanted to collect it all the volumes, and then just binge read the last 3. So I'm gonna just read once for this month, but I want to finish it by the end of the year. So I'm gonna read this stunning edition of Fable, book 13. And then the last graphic novel I'm gonna read is Lore Olympus volume 2. I waited for these so long. I can't wait to actually read these. And this is volume 2, as I said. This is, again, urban fantasy. I don't know. I'll just show you the first page. And it's basically a revisitation of, you know, Hades and Persephone story, but then you follow all the other Greek gods and they're all in, you know, our modern world. And just the art style of this, the palette of color that she chose is so gloomy and yet colorful. And then we follow the gods, and I'm a huge fan of mythology, and Greek mythology is just probably, again, it's the most famous for a reason. I absolutely love Greek mythology, so this is just a delight, and I think I'm in as much for the plot itself as much for the art. It's an experience in itself, and I'm so glad they decided to, from a self-published graphic novel to now give us these stunning editions. I'm so happy. So I'm gonna continue with volume number 2. Okay, so in terms of manga, I have got here actually, now that I'm looking at it, because Berserk is missing, of course, because it's still coming in the mail. So let me correct myself. I'm going to read 12 things. So first of all, I'm going to continue with Berserk. I am now in the Million Falcon arc. Officially with this one will start, so I finished the Conviction arc, and I'll be putting up a video, spoilery video for it, and you can find it on my channel soon, or it's already linked down below, depends on when you're seeing this. But with this volume, which is volume number 8, I am officially going to read the first 3 volumes in the Millennium Falcon arc, which many of you guys actually told me that it's the best arc in your opinion, so I'm very eager to continue on and read this. I've been reading Berserk all year, and absolutely it changed me, and so yeah, I'll continue with Berserk. And then I am gonna read a book that's finally here. It took me 2 years to actually get my hands on this, and I found it on Amazon by chance after every few months checking in. They were always sold out, and finally I found it. And this is the Kurosagi Corpse Delivery Service. They bind up volume 2. Like, guys, I can't believe how long it took me to get my hands on these. It was expensive in a sense, but not even too much, because they were on eBay but for like hundreds of dollars. I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I can't justify spending so much money on these. But I actually did find these, and this contains 3 volumes, so volume 4, 5 and 6 of the Kurosagi Corpse Delivery Service. I always shift words around. This is a crazy manga, and I learned first about this when I was doing my challenge of reading the 10 most bizarre manga ever written. It's still on my channel, I believe. I'll link it down below if it is. And it was just nuts, and it's a story of this bunch of characters. They all have paranormal powers, so powers that are linked to, in this case, mostly the dead. So they can either sense when there is a body around, they can either speak with the dead, and so forth. And they come up as a job to maintain themselves at university with this corpse delivery service, where they go and find abandoned corpses in Japan, and they try to reunite, you know, the family with the corpse, or like give them proper burial and so on. And it gets absolutely crazy. And what I loved about the first 3 volumes, so the first bind up, is that this takes, you know, again, a plot of, you know, you're looking for corpses and solving cases and so forth, and just develops in ways that you can't imagine. Like, when I was reading that, I was like, this is such a brilliant idea as a plot. Like, I've never seen something of the sort, and I will probably never after this. It's just, it takes death, and it's not the simple let's solve a mystery, let's solve an homicide and so forth. It just gets so more layered than that, and there are some concepts and idea, and even around revenge, that I absolutely loved. So I was fascinated so much by the first volume, we bind up, and I wanted to continue on for ages, and now finally I can. So I'm gonna read this big boy, and I can't wait. I didn't show you the art. Sorry, I just got too excited, didn't I? Now his 5th volume has just come out, again of this same edition. It looks lovely on my shelves. It just looks lovely. I'm so bloody happy about this. I'm also continuing on with Chainsaw Man, so I've got another volume for sure coming. So I want to read volume maybe 4 and 5, and I will consider for this TBR 5 as well. So I'm going to read 4 and 5 of Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man has been a new kind of fairly, I think it started in 2019. ongoing manga. I'm just gonna show you a page that's not spoilery. It's not spoilery, my god. Okay, for example, maybe this. Volume 3 ended on a big cliffhanger. I need to know what happens next. And also, I love this cover so much. I love everything about Chainsaw Man. And the last one that I'm continuing on rather than start, actually, is the final volume of Flowers of Evil. This is the 4th and final volume in this series. Again, another one I got to know through doing my challenge of reading the most bizarre manga ever written. And the first volume was absolutely bizarre, and it's the story, it's a kind of contemporary manga about this boy who has a crush on this girl. One day he steals something of her, so from her gym bag, and another girl in the class sees him and starts to threaten him to expose him as a pervert. And they start this very weird friendship, almost kind of a blackmail friendship if you want. And the first volume was extremely confusing. I think I then, after that, realized what this series was about a bit more. It's fundamentally a contemporary about a kid who has a lot on his plate and he's having a bit of depression. And he has to navigate his crushes, its impulses and so forth. And I've been absolutely, the art, guys, the art is absolutely, I love the art. And the story developed in ways that I could not fathom when I was starting the first volume, and I'm so glad that now I'm at the conclusion, and I'm happy I went through this journey with these characters. And these are 4 series that I'm about to start. So first of all, I'm gonna start Summertime Rendering. This is volume 1. I love the aesthetic of this so much. I think it's almost sold out online, and I was lucky and I found like a copy for a bit more cheaper than Waterstone. I'll show you some of the art. And I just know that this is a contemporary thriller though, it's a thriller, and I think it's about this guy who comes back to his hometown after a childhood friend passes away, and he just thinks he's gonna go there and go to a funeral, but when he goes there, mayhem, murder ensue, and I think it's, you know, them finding out who's killing people and so forth. I've heard amazing things about these, and I've not read a thriller manga in a while, and so I wanted to give this a try, especially because it's a fairly new series, so I can keep up with this. In all of these, guys, I didn't forget about Spy Family. I just can't get my hands on volume 2, so that's why it's not gonna be on this TBR, but if any chance I get my hands on volume 2, I'll add that in. Then one that, okay, so there's a history behind these, and this is a series that I watched the anime when I was a child, and I was obsessed. Like, it was my thing. It's to this day, like, it's a story that honestly broke me. I was so upset by the end. And then when I was reading Berserk, someone of you guys told me that actually Griffin from the Berserk series, his aesthetic is based or inspired, I believe, by this protagonist of this. And I remember I kind of connected the dots between the anime, that in Italian has a completely different name, and the manga. So I didn't know it was a manga. I should have been obvious, but I didn't thought about that series in a while, so I had not made the connection. So finally then I saw randomly this girl that does manga hauling these, and it was like, oh my god, like, it looks lovely, it all comes together. It's been my favorite anime series. It's what inspired Griffin, which is one of my favorite somehow characters. It's not favorite, it's difficult, it's a complex relationship I got with Griffith from the Berserk series. Anyway, I needed to get my hands on this because it looks so lovely. And this is the Rose of Versailles series. Can we appreciate how this volume looks? Each volume, it's 5 volumes in total, each volume has a different color. It's all hardcover, it's stunning. I am just so in love with that. The papers are like lucid and they're not colored, mostly it's black and white, but some pages are like these. And I remember, so basically in Italian this is called Lady Oscar, and Lady Oscar is the protagonist. She is the one that inspired the aesthetic of Griffith. They look very similar, and it's gonna be a bit of, now it's gonna be weird reading these and imagining Griffith in my mind, but basically this is the story of Lady Oscar. And I remember the plot from the anime, not the manga, so I don't know if it's the same, but I hope so, I think so. To go back to the plot, Lady Oscar, she's born by you know, by this father that always wanted a boy. So the father calls her with a boy name and raises her to be a soldier. And she starts then serving as King Louis XV in France as a, like, you know, she's pretty high up in the ranks of people that defend the king. So she's a soldier for the king and queen. And it's her story about, you know, how she has to struggle because she's a woman in a man world. And I think in the backdrop you have the French Revolution that's approaching. The anime was devastating. So this looks all fluffy shoujo manga, so I don't know what to expect. I will read this and probably rewatch the anime after, and it's gonna be an adventure, right? Just reading this and rewatching my favorite anime when I was a kid. That I don't know. I don't know what to expect. And then two very famous series. So I'm gonna start with the one that I've seen everywhere, and it was time for me to try. This is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So I'm gonna try and start in order. So this is part 1, Phantom Blood. I think there's a part 2. I love this cover so much. I saw this in any Waterstone I enter. There are so many of these editions, and it's just like, it's everywhere. I'm not very much interested for now to watch the anime. I don't know why. And I need to try this. Maybe it's the best thing that will ever happen to me after Berserk. Because I mean, I can't see something toppling Berserk, but I needed to try these. It looks lovely. It's gonna be, if I collect them all, it's gonna look lovely in my collections, and it's considered one of the best of all times. So I wanted to start reading the best of all times, and you know, your recommendations as well. I don't even know what this is about exactly. There is no synopsis whatsoever. I just know this is about a cowboy. It's kind of a mashup of a cowboy, fantasy, bloody story, adventure, weather. I'm gonna find out when I read it. And the last one is actually one that some of you guys recommended for me to read the manga, and a friend of mine has watched the anime, and this is his favorite anime ever. So I said, between you recommending the manga, because the manga continues on while the anime, there are just 1 or 2 seasons out, I decided to pick up the manga. Because again, so many people told me this, you know, my favorite, so there must be a reason. And also I love the premise, so I decided to start Vinland Saga, and this is book number 1. When I saw these editions, I was like, yep, it's happening. Can we appreciate it? It's a hardcover. I think there are more than 15 volumes like this. I'm not sure. It's gonna be a long journey. So yeah, I'll show you the art. Looking very much forward to these. And all I know about these is that it's inspired by not Norse mythology, but it's about the Vikings, and it's about this boy who's raised by Vikings after they murder his family. And I think there's gonna be a lot of inner conflict between him being raised by them and him wanting to be an explorer like them, and conquering territories and reaching, you know, its dreamland, which I think is Vinland. They're looking forward to conquest this specific piece of land and thrive there, and him wanting at the same time to revenge his family. I don't know much else. I don't even know if it's correct, but you can correct me in the comments down below. Just as a synopsis, don't give me any spoilers. But I'm eager to start these, and again, because it's such a long saga, I'll be probably reading this for a while. I can't wait to read these, and I trust you guys. I trust your tastes, because you joined in and you liked some of the things I've been loving. So hopefully I will love this. And that's it. That's it for my TBR. It's a lot. Let me try and pick them all up. Can try. I can try. Oh god. Okay, I've made it. It's so hot. Look. Like, this is my TBR. It looks epic. It sounds epic. I'm gonna have a best of month. I got a feeling that I'm gonna really love this. And yeah, thank you for watching. Let me know what you're picking up in August. Let me know if you will have any other recommendations. I'll be busy for a while. And thank you for watching. Take care of yourself. I'll see you next time. Ciao!